Hi everyone, this is a midpoint update for those who are following Olive Pixley's Ritual of Light and the Magnet course. I wasn't going to do it with the camera, but somebody was complaining about the blank screen, so it's not blank anymore. So this month was mooted to be the battleground astrologically. We've just had a Jupiter-Pluto conjunction, and at the end of the month there's going to be a lunar eclipse. So if the energy feels intense, there might be some reasons for that cosmically, although we should also remember that the stars incline, they don't compel, so we don't have to let astrological conditions affect us too much if we choose to kind of try and stay outside those or above them. So for this kind of halfway point for the cosmic breath, I wanted to share something completely different actually to Olive Pixley's exercises. Oh, well, not completely different, complementary, but not from her. Something, it's a book that I've read before, and I'm reading it again, and just read a section when I was in the bath, and it seemed to be very relevant to what we're doing at the moment. So it's from Through the Curtain by Viola, Petitt, Neal and Shafica Karagula. It's quite a rare book, this, and a bit of a treat. I've done a couple of readings from it before. Viola was a theosopher, so not quite the same belief system to Olive Pixley's very definitely Christian theology, but complementary, I think, and you'll see why. So in her entry from April the 30th, 1961, these are her impressions from night school, which she attended astrally. She's writing about the Wesak festival in 1961, and she says, "This year the Wesak festival has very special significance. The place of the festival is within the crystal temple of the torch. This is a beautiful underground temple which has held for long ages the archives of this planet. The great torch above the altar has remained unlighted through all the ages, until the time when enough disciples in the human kingdom have achieved the birth of the Christ in the heart. When the soul is born, then is lighted in the heart of the individual the ever-burning flame. Each disciple becomes an ever-burning lamp in the temple of Sanat Kumara, who as a theosopher she saw as the higher deity. When enough of these flames are lighted, then it is said that the great torch in the central temple of the planet will be lighted. This is a great event upon our planet. Sanat Kumara came to light the flame of consciousness in the human kingdom. Until a certain time, it was not assured that enough of our life wave would achieve the birth of the soul. The lighting of the great torch means that enough of the disciples of the world have achieved this to make possible a new step forward on the planet. The light of the great central flame upon the planet, once lighted, can never be extinguished. Its lighting at this Wesak festival means that at the heart of our planet the immortal flame has been born, and that this will always be a Christ planet. Although the forces of darkness will sweep in toward this central flame engulfing mankind for a short time, they cannot succeed in extinguishing the light of immortal self-consciousness upon the planet. Mankind must still work to evolve, but the immortal self-conscious human being is established on the planet. This ceremony of the lighting of the torch will take place in the presence of the assembled multitude of disciples, initiates, adepts, masters and kumaras with the Lord Buddha, the Christ, and the Lord of the world. It is the work of the human kingdom, as well as the work of all those in the higher kingdoms, which makes this great forward step on our planet possible. This ceremony, and all the resulting energies directed to the human kingdom, will bring more light, more awareness, more clear seeing on the part of humanity. It will clear the astral fogs that surround humanity with selfish desires that engulf mankind. The lighting of the great torch, the central flame of the planet, will bring illumination on the mental plane. The Christ said, "You are the light of the world." We, as disciples, are the ever-burning lamp, and we are also a part of the central flame of the planet. By our achievement, we make possible the lighting of the flame. Our candlelight services on earth are a symbol of the lighting of the immortal flame of consciousness. Because Sanat Kumara came to demonstrate light, we who live and move and have our being within his consciousness faintly discern this truth and outpicture it in all our altar flames, in all our religions. It is said that shortly many more lamps will be lighted as many more in the human kingdom achieve the birth of the Christ in the heart. This will be achieved quickly through suffering and travail, as the antichrist seeks the young child to destroy him. This seeking to destroy all good in the human kingdom will be the last great effort of the forces of darkness on our planet for long ages to come. Light is the answer to darkness. As humanity, seeing the horror of evil, chooses good with definite deliberation and lights the lamp of immortal consciousness, evil will be dispelled. When disciples first realize the power of evil and darkness, they are dismayed. You do not meet this kind of thing with violence. Light, the light of the lamp of immortal self-consciousness, is the only weapon against darkness. This Wesak will brighten the light of awareness in each disciple. It's not long to Wesak. Light has great power. It will show up in sharp clarity the forces at work in our world today. We will begin to know more definitely what we want to choose. The conflict in the world may grow more sharp and more threatening, but in that case it will be resolved more quickly. The Antichrist must answer the challenge of the lighting of the torch. He will reveal himself before very long and endeavour to push back the light. Failing this, he will endeavour to imitate the light, as happened in the case of Pistis Sophia. He will offer humanity the three things which Satan offered the Christ. Bread, make these stones bread, he said to the Christ, and enjoy all the material things you want. Do the spectacular and make all men praise you. He will do the spectacular to get all men to worship him, the Antichrist it is. He will offer power to all the kingdoms of the world. But all these things are the rewards offered to the sons of darkness. He who is immortal and eternal does not need to grab the material world or power or glory. The sons of God cannot be bribed or fooled by these things. This is how the Antichrist will be vanquished. The Lord of Darkness will be conquered by the light. As disciples, we must seek to overcome any darkness in ourselves. The only power any negative force has is whatever we give it by the darkness in ourselves. Let us cast out the darkness, that we may walk in the Christ light. I won't read out all of the next one, but she jumps forward almost a year to March 1962. And because she's talking about quite an important time in human history. She says, first of all, a frequency impact that began on the 21st of March 1962 was directed to Earth humanity. It will affect the mind and actual physical brain so that Earth humanity will start rejecting the negative things thrown at it by radio, television, and the press. Well, if only that were completely true, but I think, at least half the people in the world are trying to do that. She says there will be a turning point away from all these things, and the Plutonian forces will not benefit, it will baffle them. She talks about Venusians and Martians moving in with more positive projects. She's a theosopher, remember. The 3 spring full moons will heighten the energy impact and bring what has been a slow deterioration of the planet into sharp crisis and move up in tempo. This will have several effects on Earth humanity. A strong dynamic allegiance to the Christ which begins with Easter. For the first time, an awakening all over the human kingdom at the time of the Wesak festival to the destructive forces. This has never happened before on the planet. It needs to happen again, though. They will see that there are forces of light to call on for help. They will see the way to win the battle, not with violence, but with the illumination of their minds and asking for help that is available. This is being accomplished by the direction of frequencies from the Buddhic plane to the whole of Earth humanity. This is the beginning of a widespread opening to the esoteric teaching. At first, the antichrist forces will not oppose esoteric teaching because they consider religion an opiate for the masses and belief in immortality is utterly stupid. There is a definite change in consciousness coming about in Earth humanity, and nothing like it has happened before. It is a matter of weeks rather than hundreds of years. A feature of the Kali Yuga, one of the good things, maybe the only good thing, is that things speed up. So you can achieve, actually, in a split second, spiritual karmic progress, which can take lifetimes in the Kali Yuga, because time behaves differently. She's saying, the outer events on the planet of Plutonian origin demanded a change of strategy from the forces of light. The great weapon against the Plutonian forces is the illumined consciousness of mankind. This is really a method of stepping up the light of consciousness in Earth humanity. Then she emphasises that June 1962, she talks about the Festival of Humanity and says it's a very important year again. And she says it's expected that there will be a tremendous crisis in the outer world involving the whole planet. It could be the establishing of a world government under the antichrist in outer manifestation. It is already established but not yet revealed outwardly. Well, it's being revealed now, isn't it? At present, we are in a kind of no man's land waiting for the attack on humanity. This was 1962. She talks about a great unrest among Earth humanity. The masses even feel a kind of divine unrest, like a person who has eaten too much yet is hungry for the right thing. She says there will be an outpicturing of the hierarchy more definitely and more quickly than it was at first planned. We had to have the impasse for a time because it was the least destructive way to bring Earth humanity to a sense of need and therefore to respond. Every available person who knows and understands the wisdom teaching is going to be needed to help instruct humanity, because they are ready to respond to the energies of these ideas. Ideas have to be presented without sensationalism or glamour. Remember, Earth humanity has a basic soundness. And then she goes on to talk about disciples of the world being like lighted candles. She says each disciple of the world, even aspirants who have any dedication, figuratively speaking, will be a lighted candle, to light the personality and to make them a part of the light in the world. This will give them a more clear awareness of those things and those activities which belong to the realm of light, and therefore more discrimination to know what belongs to the forces of light and cooperate with it. This is why the keynote, the Wesak, is cleavage, not not mine. Because the light they are receiving will show up in the darkness, show us the darkness. The light they will receive is a protection also because the forces of darkness flee from the light. The inner light will therefore conceal and protect those who belong to and have chosen the forces of good. This is referred to in the book of Revelation as the white stone, and also referred to as the new name, which designates the sons of light. I know some of you already have a new name. There is also a focus of negative energy at the same time, but this is not so potent. It's powerful because of the concentration of the black forces, but it does not have the power of the Wesak. This Wesak also marks an impact of the energy of the avatar of synthesis coming in through the Christ. It's very important. And that's, remember, the tarot work is a work of great synthesis. So that can help us to achieve that part of our own great work. The tarot exercises, they set that up quite clearly. The next full moon, this energy will manifest in and through the human kingdom on the physical plane. At this time, the whole planetary hierarchy is focused and concentrated on the energy of the Wesak, and all the ashrams are endeavouring to link up with their disciples and students to reach them with these concepts of energies and ideas. I think that's... Okay, so Viola Petitt Neal gives a meditation, which I'll share it. I've not done it. I might do it later. We'll see. It's a while since I've read this. So she says, this is what she sees. The Wesak ceremony is perceived by Viola Petitt Neal during meditation. The area is surrounded by mountains. No trees are seen. There is a very wide rock which looks more like a flat-surfaced plateau. A formation of people is seen. Many were present. There is a 7-pointed star formation of people present according to ashramic position. Within the centre of the star there appears to be an inner circle where the masters seem to be present. On the periphery of the star, crowds of people seem to be present. In the very centre of the 7-pointed formation, a figure seems to be standing, considered to be the Christ by the observer. At the moment of the full moon, the Buddha appeared on a shaft of light in the sky and became a channel for energy from Shambhala. He descended into the centre of the star and stood beside his brother the Christ. Then the Christ moved forward 3 steps and became the focus for the Wesak energy. The following ritual was observed to be carried on by the Christ. Hands outstretched upward as though receiving the higher energies of which he was becoming the focal point. That's the orange gesture, of course. His hands were then stretched outward, forming the cross, which is identification with the creative process and spirit matter. Then he stretched his hands forward and horizontal at right angle to the chest and blessed the crowd. It's an outpouring to humanity of the energy of the spirit. The above ritual was done 3 times. Then all those present did likewise after him, after completing the 3 movements each time. The crowd present turned around when they did the ritual, as though extending it to all humanity. So he's got the higher energies and the cross, and then that. So higher, 2, 3, higher, 2, 3. The centre where the Christ was standing seemed to be over a part of the earth which had a holy ground or a temple beneath it. A light appeared in the sky, which came to a focus at a point, and from there it was rediffused over the surface of the earth. It seemed to cover the whole planet. Gradually it moved into a more focused circle, including just the area. But a certain amount of this light energy would remain from now on the planet. One part of the light remained, penetrating to the centre of the earth. This is very bright, and it is established from now on. Somehow, the light that seemed to light in the sky was connected with the avatar of synthesis. There was also sound being used at the ceremony of Wesak, but the student who was present could not recall what the exact sound was. He said, "You felt like an electrical frequency was going through you, not too strenuous and yet dynamic. This seemed to last perhaps 6 to 8 minutes and had an effect on the student of opening up of consciousness which will take a few days to adjust to. It seems this was the first time that this type of ritual has been used in this manner." So that's it. That's over and out. Good luck with the meditations. I think the magnet's a bit challenging in places, but you don't have to do it, every day. Just if and when the spirit moves you to.